Hello, fellow writers. I'm Lewis. That over there is Tolkien, and you have found the Scripturian Society.
Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
So glad to have you.
Back for another week. First week of NaNoWriMo, so I'm sure some of you are into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today is actually 2 days into NaNoWriMo, and I've already failed because I thought for some reason my brain was like, today is November 1st. And I still haven't done any writing. So I still haven't done anything today. So I'm kind of like, great. I also realized that I have to record and edit 6 episodes between the Scripturian Society and the Pretentious Book Club in a week, basically, because I'm going on an anniversary trip. So it's super exciting. Someone was like, oh, it's 5 days. You took a whole week off work. And I was like, no, I'm going over the weekend. I took like 2 days or 2 or 3 days off work maximum because I didn't get a honeymoon when I got married because it was COVID. And Javi and I actually both got sick when we came back, and we were just sick. And then he went back on army orders. So we're going on this trip. I'm very excited, but it means that I have to do so much stuff in advance, which I've already started doing. So I'm just like, I am like sleepwalking through life, and I'm going to be for the next week. And it's NaNoWriMo. It is all I do, but it's not usually, it's usually 2 episodes a week, not 6 episodes a week. And it's also not usually NaNoWriMo.
True.
But it is NaNoWriMo.
Good timing. Good timing.
Oof, yeah.
All right. So before we start, I have a couple red pen points. First, I have not eaten dinner yet. So if you hear my stomach, that's why.
I literally just like shoved the last bite in my mouth before I opened my camera.
Nice. I did not. And then I just wanted to correct. So last week, one of my book recommendations was the second book of the Inheritance games. It's called The Hawthorne Legacy, if you guys remember. And I thought it was a duology. It is not. Apparently, there is a third book coming out. So I don't know how I feel about that. But if I said duology, or if I made it sound like the conclusion, it felt conclusion-y, but it's not. So there's one more. So just FYI, if you wanted a duology, don't go with that one. But if you want a trilogy,
go with that one.
Yes.
Exactly. For some reason, my headset's very loud and I can't seem to change it, but I guess that's okay.
Oh, okay.
That's all good. Oh, well. What was I going to say? Wow, I'm going strong already. 3 minutes in. Okay, by the way, that's Karissa.
Yes,
I don't know if we
and that is Ash.
Hello. AKA Tolkien and Lewis.
Yeah. Those are our nicknames.
Yeah. Exactly. Are those all your rapapas, your red pen points?
Yes.
Okay,
that was
cool.
all I wanted to say.
Well, how was your week?
It was good. Okay, so I made this discovery. I don't know if this is a thing everyone else knew about and I am late to the game, or if I will be telling you guys a mind-blowing new thing. I found this site because of Book Talk. It's this website called Incarnate. So like INKARNATE. You can make your own fantasy maps. Like your country for your book.
What?
Yes, you can make your own fantasy maps. You can do it from like a parchment, like map kind of thing. You can do battle maps.
Can you print it? Will they let you print? Oh my God.
So there is a version you pay for, but there is a free version and it's pretty good. I'm using the free version and it's really, really cool.
Okay, this could count as some NaNoWriMo stuff because my new book has I need a map for it, which I have very poorly drawn out in my notebook. So this could count.
Yes, I was so excited. I've had the same map for 12, 13 years and it's getting old and it's not even accurate anymore because I've changed things. Yeah. So I was like, I discovered this and everything has changed. It's awesome.
Everything has changed for me. So did you decide for NaNoWriMo that you're going to work on a new book, or are you working on your...
Nope, I'm working on a new book. I even made an outline.
Ooh.
Can you believe that?
I never know anything about this book. I almost never do either.
Yes. So I'll just say it's kind of like, I'm calling it the Lord of the Flies remix. It's based on Lord of the Flies, but a modern day, a bunch of kids get stranded on an island together, but there's a fantasy twist.
Do you know that Pretentious Book Club just did Lord of the Flies?
I did, and I did not plan that.
Oh my God.
I love Lord of the Flies, and so I've had this idea marinating in my head for several years now. I have like some scenes written. It's a series. I have like 6 books in mind about it, but I haven't actually written it. So I'm excited.
That is so exciting. It also like, it's like a little bit of like a throwback to our fan fiction episode where we talked about because that's technically a fan fiction.
It is
technically
it's based on Lord of the Flies. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that.
That is
I think it'll
so
be
exciting.
Cool.
And now that I've read Lord of the Flies, I will actually understand.
I probably should reread Lord of the Flies, A, to listen to that Pretentious Book Club's episode on it, and then B, to more accurately write this book. But I mean, it's short, and so I can totally do that.
Kendall is solidly tipsy to drunk for a good portion of the episode, so it is an excellent episode to listen to.
Sounds great.
It is. It's really good. Well, Lord of the Flies is an intense book, so I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's just be as goofy as humanly possible because this is going to be hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm just excited because I'm giving it a fantasy twist.
I am so excited for you.
I love the characters, so it's exciting.
I think I might get to work on my book some tomorrow. I'm looking at like my schedule for this week, and my brother is surprised in town also. So yeah, which is great. But I'm also like, ooh, any free, and I get my normal job goes until like 6 p.m., which is quite late in the evening. I mean, I can't complain as some people, work night shifts, but it is hard because then that's when I would usually do things. So tomorrow I need to dye my hair again before the anniversary trip. And I have and because I use henna dye and it has to stay on for like 7 hours, I don't even have another day between now and next Friday when I can do it. So I'm waking up early tomorrow to put the henna in. And I woke up early today so I could work out. Like I can only do so many things. But anyways, all of that to say, I think that tomorrow, I think I will have a little bit of time to work on my book.
Yay. And what are you working on? Are you telling us anything about it?
My Venetian mermaid book. That's so not a good representation of it because it's not a mermaid book, but it's because I've been looking for a way to incorporate some kind of mermaid lore into a book for so long. And I finally found it in a really interesting setting, which is kind of like a Venetian setting. So yeah, so I mean, that's what I'm working on when I ever get the chance to work on it. But I do really want to work on it this month.
Awesome. And what other news do you have?
Oh yeah, you're looking at me so expectantly. I was like, I don't have any other news. What are you talking about? Well, you see, and it's especially good for this episode. I just published one of my books. So I just published Space Aliens, Southerners, and Saving the World on Amazon. It's in print, hardcover, and ebook. So if you want one, go get one. You can also go to it from thatpretentiousbookclub.com. I've got like a page on there for it there too. But yeah, so exciting. This has been like such like a long time coming for this book. It's a book I wrote, I think like 2 years ago, and I still liked it. If you guys listen to the Scriptarian Society regularly, like you've probably heard me go on and on about I'm at this stage of editing and this stage of editing. I'm not going to re-edit it. Oh, I am going to re-edit it. And I did, but just a little bit. I didn't change any like big major things, but I'm definitely glad that I went over it again. So I actually haven't even gotten my copy yet. My mom's got her copy before I got my copy.
That's weird.
I know, but I did get to hold it in my hands, and I can post it on the Scriptarian Society so you guys can see what the book, like the actual print book, looks like. But I believe I also put a post up there that just shows you the cover and what to look for. So if you guys want it, go look up Space Aliens, Southerners, and Saving the World. It's by Ashley O'Rourke. That's me. And it is great. I am calling it a Marvelesque blend of comedy and action and also science fiction.
Cool.
I am making a TikTok that is
perfect.
Basically a collection of blurbs that I would write if I were a critic reading my book.
Awesome.
One of them is the Whataburger fan fiction we've always been asking for, because it's a thing,
you know. The fan fiction too.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, so exciting stuff. That's my big life update.
Awesome. It's so cool. I think if I had to describe it, I would describe it as a contemporary sci-fi, which is a strange combination, but
that is good.
Works. It's pretty good.
It is contemporary sci-fi. I've been calling it like light sci-fi.
Yeah.
But it is pretty solidly sci-fi, but it is contemporary. Right. I like it.
It's not futuristic.
Yeah, it's not futuristic at all. It's not, and it doesn't take place in space or on another planet. It takes place in Austin, Texas.
Gee, I wonder why.
do. I wonder why. When I started it too, where I'd only moved back to Texas, like, I mean, it'd been like a couple of years, but it's not like I'd been back as much time as I have now. But Texas is just so Texas. Like, it's just
it is its own thing.
The state identity here is so iconic. Like, so this book would just, it's just got a lot of things that are, I know it's laughable. I think I make it laughable in the book. I know that we are so mockable because the amount of pride we have in ourselves is absurd. And I recognize that, but I also love that because it's also like, the thing is, like, Southern people are so nice. So some of the characters in the book are not based on actual family members, but like inspired by different aspects of them, because Southern family is a special kind of family vibe. It's just Southern people in general. But what I like so much about Texas is, even though we do think that we are the best, there's such a focus on always, being respectful of everybody, like, it's just like basic manners, etiquette, like, person to person respect is very important here. And I love that. So it's just all the things that I love about Texas, including Dr. Pepper, Willie Nelson, and Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, exactly.
All good things.
All good things. It's a little bit of like it is kind of almost like an exaggeration of certain elements, because I want people who aren't from the South to, I mean, I don't mind perpetuating a few stereotypes when they're totally rooted in truth.
Yeah. And when they're accurate, is it really a stereotype?
Exactly. And it's also for people who are from the South who read this. I want them to really get a laugh. Like, I want them to notice that I've put this stuff in there. So I made it stand out a little bit, but God, I think I'm so funny. I read it and I'm like, God, this woman, she is hilarious. Should have done stand-up comedy.
Who wrote this? Oh yeah, it was me.
Who wrote this? She's a genius. Oh wait.
There's absolutely a TikTok sound for that. So just saying.
There's one that I did already, which I posted a TikTok on the That Pretentious Book Club TikTok a while ago. That basically was when you wake up early before everybody, exercise, work out, and have your cup of coffee, and you've already started writing. And then it's the sound that says, am I better than everyone?
Yep. So good. Oh my gosh.
It's so funny.
Speaking of TikTok, they changed the algorithm. So there is one video that I posted a week ago that's going around. It is up to 637 likes. And everything I've posted since has less than 15. So what's going on? No idea.
I was wondering too, because I put something up on TikTok that like usually would have gotten a lot more likes, I think, even with like how it's weird to predict, but like it got like 4 likes. And I was like, 4? Really? Okay.
I think 2 things are going on, at least for me. One, I think the algorithm changed because a lot of other people on Writer Talk have been talking about that. But 2, I think because that one video went like semi-viral, it's now that initial batch of like 150 people that it's sending the videos out to is not the target audience. And so they're not liking it. So then it doesn't show it to anyone else.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. It was one video. Ignore that one and go for the other ones.
Yeah. I put one on the TPBC Instagram, the one that got only 4 likes on TikTok, I put on TPBC Insta and it got like 280 likes or something wild. Exactly. And then the one that it's performing better, and it is objectively a better video. Like, I put on makeup and I put like a costume and thought into this, and it's clever and it's related to a book we had just done for Halloween, and it got like 10 likes maybe on Instagram.
Is that the mirror one?
No, but isn't that one funny? That one got like 9. Again, that one got like, my mirror ones. It's a Dracula joke. Go check it out. But that got like no likes basically on either platform. And I was like, this is comedy gold.
Right?
But yeah, I did like a Halloween themed one, like a witchy Halloween one about the book we had done on Halloween. Basically like no engagement on it. I mean, a little bit on TikTok, but just wild. I was just like, and this other one that I put no effort into that's not relevant to anything.
The one that has like 600 plus likes, I had my hair in a bun, no makeup on. It took me 2 takes. I was like, all right, this is good enough for today.
That's exactly. My hair was in gross, messy braids because it needed to be washed, and I was wearing no makeup, and I was sitting outside drinking whiskey. And then I was just like, hey, I have a few minutes. What should I do? I'll make a TikTok. And I made a TikTok. People are like, this is it. This is the content we have been asking for.
Yeah, TikTok is weird. Funny. I don't understand it. But anyway.
Anyway, what's our word of the week?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, but let me try. Alexithymia.
Ooh.
Alexithymia. Something like that.
Alexithymia.
So it's Alexithymia. And it means the inability to recognize or describe one's own emotions, inability to describe or identify feelings.
Oh no. This is very familiar to me. Did I tell you the story of how one of my boyfriends asked me if I have feelings?
Yeah. Well, I was like, you told me.
Yeah.
Listeners, did I tell you?
Well, I've told the TPBC listeners just because it's funny as hell to me. But no, I don't think I've told our TSS listeners. But yes, I had a boyfriend once who asked me if I have feelings, and I was like, it's a really great question. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the answer is obviously yes. Like, right. I was, especially at the time, very, very bad at recognizing my own emotions, much less expressing them. I'm still not great at expressing them. I'm just like, my heart is beating very fast. I'm having trouble focusing.
So
I'm like,
sudden and new.
Well, exactly. I'm like, is this perhaps anxiety? I don't know. How about another cup of coffee, Ash? Yeah, I'll take another cup of coffee.
Who cares? Coffee will fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, your diagnosis is alexithymia.
Alexithymia. I have alexithymia, guys.
Yeah. There's also, for those of you who care, there is an Anne Boleyn song called Alexithymia, and that's where I first heard this word.
That's cool.
It's pretty great. It's a good song. That's
extremely cool.
You should check it out.
Oh my God, I'm going to now, right now. Okay, I gotta go. Right. Yeah, no. So what a great word, especially because it reminds me of our author for this upcoming book we're doing on TPBC.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking about it now because I was just listening to the audiobook. We're doing Darkest Minds soon, everybody.
That's right. I was like, that's me. I'm guesting on that.
That's you guys. This is so exciting because we just had Kendall from TPBC guest with us for our fan fiction episode. And this Friday we are recording with our very own TSS Karissa Harlow to talk about the Darkest Minds. So it's just so exciting. It's just all the guesting all around, and it's going to be really great. But the author of that is Alexander Bracken. So when you said alexithymia, I was like, in theme for the other podcast.
You're so right.
I am. I usually am.
I absolutely need to reread that book too. Good reminder.
Yeah, I got you. I've read, we're recording 2 books this week. So I've already read one, and now I'm working on this one again. Cool. It's a good one. Kendall said she's really liking it. So I guess you could call that my book recommendation for the week is Darkest Minds.
I mean, also same, seconded all the time. I love this book so much.
I know you do.
It's my favorite. I'm trying to think, what else did I read this week? I definitely read something. I read this book called The 10th Girl by, I think, Sarah Faring. And it's really weird. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't like it. I feel like I'm reading a lot of books like that lately. It's a horror book, but it goes into a different genre toward the end. And it's just like, what's going on here?
I don't love that.
Yeah. I don't love that.
Interesting.
It kind of felt like if any of you watched From Dusk Till Dawn, the Tarantino movie where it like switches genres halfway through. That's what it felt like.
No, thank you. Ugh. Yeah. That sounds frustrating. No, if you're going to do something weird with your genres, do it from the start and stay consistent. I feel like every time it comes to any kind of like writing opinion at all, I'm like, be consistent.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's true. If you're consistent, you can get away with almost anything.
It's true. If people know what to expect, they will believe you. But if you suspend their disbelief too far, they're going to fall off a cliff. So
I thought you were going to say fall off the wagon, but no, we're going to a cliff. Okay.
We always go to the extreme.
Always go to the cliff. Got it. Thelma and Louise over here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, well, do you have any other book recommendations you want to share?
No, that was it.
Okay. Well, should we talk about our theme for this week?
Yeah. So this week we are talking about self-publishing. Should you do it? Should you not? What to expect, etc.
So many mixed answers to this question. We touched on this quite a bit in what episode was it? Not our fan fiction episode, our rejection apathy.
Yeah.
We're talking about querying. We talked quite a bit about self-publishing in that, but it really does deserve its own episode, as does traditional publishing. But I think we'll just wait till maybe one of us gets a literary agent to dive into that one, because that we can only speak to in theory. We do know probably quite a bit more than the average Joe about it because we've been like researching in the industry for so long. But Definitely not enough to do our own episode on it yet.
Yeah.
However,
Experience is different.
self-publishing, I've been there a few times now.
Yeah.
I've been around this block, this uncomfortable block. The great news about self-publishing these days is that it is way less expensive than it used to be. Even God, how long ago was it? 6 or 7 years ago when I self-published the first time, or maybe longer. I don't know. Even then, that's before Kindle Direct Publishing was accessible as it is now. So
yeah,
like you still had to go find a self-publishing agency of some kind. So I used BookLocker. They're very reputable. They still exist. You can still use them. I believe they are an offshoot of Ingram Spark Publishing. And I believe they're like one of like the biggest worldwide distributors of books. So basically your book, not in stores, but your book will be available online everywhere, including Amazon, if you publish through them or a company like them. But they are more expensive because the thing with Kindle Direct Publishing is it is totally free, which is amazing.
Is that what you did this time?
That's what I did this time. Yeah.
Okay.
So I am limited in the sense that it's not available everywhere. Like you have to go to Amazon if you want it, which I don't love. But to save that much money for a book like this, which I think has a pretty narrow audience to begin with, I'm not too worried about it. But with BookLocker and other companies like that, you have to pay a hosting fee every year on top of they're so specific about their formatting needs and stuff. Like KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, has their own program you can download to format your manuscript to their specifications and upload it. And they have made this so easy. If you're even a little bit computer fluent, you can do it, which is great. Versus, either hiring a formatter or paying, someone like BookLocker to do it, which you will have to do if you use a traditional self-publishing agency. And when I say traditional self-publishing, I do not recommend, and I said this in the rejection apathy episode, I think, but I will say it again. I highly do not recommend finding a self-publishing agency that makes you print all of your books in advance. You want to find a POD agency, which is a print on demand agency like BookLocker is, and like Kindle Direct Publishing is, where they print a book when the book is ordered. It's still very fast. It's not like they're going to have to like a lot of turnaround time, but you don't have to spend all the money on the books that are going to sit in your garage, just hoping that you can sell them. So these days, I think that that's just way more economic for everything and probably more environmentally friendly and everything. So, those are some of my my first like big, here you go.
I wonder if, like having a bunch of books in, sitting in your house that you haven't sold is motivating or really discouraging. I don't know.
For someone who is extremely self-motivated and also arrogant, it's just true. I still think that I would find it demotivating.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, it's the entertainment industry in general, but especially books and publishing, it changes so much and it's so subjective. And to really push a book, you need so many skills that even you could be trying your hardest and still sell basically nothing. So I think it's actually pretty discouraging unless you know for sure that you've gotten some independent bookstores to agree to stock your book.
Yeah.
Which is something you can do with traditional self-publishing or print on demand self-publishing. However, you can't really do that with Kindle Direct Publishing because they sell through Amazon.
It's Amazon.
Yeah. So that is where like the biggest drawback is. Like the other cost that you'll have to think about is cover design with Kindle Direct Publishing as well. You can use Kindle Direct's Cover Creator. I do not recommend using Kindle Direct's Cover Creator. It will make your book look so amateur. Like, it's unfortunate to say. And if you've done that before, I mean, no shade. Maybe you made yours really nice, but for the most part, the ones that I've seen they look self-published. And the goal is to not look self-published because there's still like this weird like idea attached to it of it not being as professional, which isn't true. It's the same. A lot of these books that are being self-published are the same quality as what's being traditionally published through a literary agency and a publishing house. But you want to look like you came from a publishing house. That's the goal. So for most people, that means finding someone to make your book cover and paying them to do it. And then uploading that you also have to match Kindle Direct Publishing's specifications. So that's kind of a cost you have to just know that you're going to have regardless. But then formatting is another cost you'll have unless you use Kindle Direct Publishing. I mean, you could still find someone like on like Fiverr or Upwork or something if you just don't want to format it yourself, but it's easy. You can. So
there's this big discussion going around Book Talk right now about how you should price your self-published books. And so I'm curious, how much do you make per copy? Like, and why is it that low? Because I think it's low.
It depends. It depends. The what I saw on Kindle Direct Publishing, which my book is just now published. I've only been published for a little while. It's not at all unlike what it was through BookLocker. It's about the same. I think it's probably about the same regardless. But the thing is, so basically the printer takes a piece, the seller takes a piece. I think some places like the shelver takes a piece, which is a different thing. I don't know a ton about. I could be saying that wrong. And then you get to take a piece. And there's probably other people now I'm forgetting that also get to take a piece. Basically, a lot of people get to take a piece of your pie. So it leaves you with one slice of pie, essentially. Right. And you make a different amount based on every book form. Ebooks, because there's no printing or shelving, you actually get to keep a greater percentage of what you make, but the books cost less. So it ends up kind of shaking out all the same. Hardcover and print, you can take like a slightly different percentage because hardcovers cost more to print. You can look up like the recommended costs. I based mine on what I, as a reader, would feel comfortable spending on a book like this. So the thing is, I didn't want to underprice myself. I've done it before. Not a good place to be. Don't do it. But definitely don't overprice yourself either. Like, if you're charging more than $30 for a book, that's a hard sell. That's a really hard sell. And I get it for some hardcovers, especially longer hardcovers, they do cost a lot to print. So I get it, the temptation, but like, I think as a reader who purchases books online and in stores, try and keep it under $30.
So this is the spiel that I've been working on in my head lately, because this conversation has been happening a lot. So I think, just to go on to traditional publishing real fast. So the value in traditional publishing is really quantity. A publishing house not only produces a lot of different books, but it produces a lot of copies of those books.
Yeah.
And so they can charge, less money than maybe a self-published author, because they're not making their money per book necessarily. They're making their money in quantity and how much they get out there. And this is really great for two reasons. One, it means that authors and editors and anyone who works for the publishing agency gets a pretty good salary. It also means that readers have affordable books. And so it's kind of this trade-off where everyone wins. And so I don't even know if it's a problem, but the only catch is that traditional publishers therefore get to be very picky about the stuff that they publish.
They do. And all their stuff is the stuff that gets into bookstores, like big name bookstores and independent bookstores. And I think that's might be the biggest value of traditional publishing, is that you're not going to get into a big name bookstore self-published unless you make it like Aragon level big, which is wild. And he got an agent because he was so big self-published.
He eventually got traditionally published.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, maybe if you're really successful, you can convince an independent bookstore to stock your books. Like I said, if it's not through KDP, I'm not going to get my Alien book stocked in stores unless it gets, picked up by a literary agent or something and published somewhere else. But
so the issue with self-publishing is that you have those same expectations without that publisher behind you. And so by expectations, it is quality. And I do think self-published quality varies greatly. There are some that are really, really bad. And there are some that you think to yourself, why didn't this get traditionally published?
Yeah.
But then also pricing, because readers are very used to, paying a certain price for books, and they're not going to pay more for a self-published book when there's something comparable in the traditional range.
Yeah.
And so I think self-published authors sometimes overvalue their work, in the sense that they see how much effort and time they've been putting into it. And I'm sure you have, and you're also doing a lot of jobs. Yeah. But readers are not responsible for your living wage, essentially. They're not going to pay that. And that's not a problem with the readers. You, as a self-published author, are really competing with all other self-published authors plus traditional publishers.
It's true.
And people published traditionally are really only competing with other major houses, because the traditional publisher doesn't really care if you buy this book or this book. They make the money either way. Yeah. So if you belong to the same publishing house as another author, you're not really in competition in the same way as self-published authors are. It's true. And so you're meeting there are all of these different roadblocks in the way of self-publishing, which is why I think it's really difficult to make money on it and really difficult to be successful.
I would
and
say
it's not
don't
necessarily
yeah
well, I was just going to say, it's not necessarily the quality of your book that's even the most important. Sometimes it's pricing, sometimes it's reader, like I feel this way. I like knowing that traditionally published books have been vetted by several different editors instead of just one or two. And I mean, certainly not every book traditionally published is good. I have issues with that, but there's a greater chance.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like self-publishing is valid and good and everything, but there's a lot more in your way
there's a lot more in your way. I think for like, because of all the things that you're saying, I wouldn't say go into self-publishing assuming that you're going to make money from it. Do it because you're just, your book is good quality and you want to put your book out there, and you don't think a traditional literary agent is going to pick it up, or you just plain out don't want to get a traditional literary agent, which is fine if you don't want that. But then I would say don't expect to make money. It's great if you do it. That's best case scenario. That would be awesome. If you go into expecting to make money, you're probably going to be pricing stuff not quite fairly. And then B, even if you price it fairly, you still might not sell anything, or you just might not sell much. And like Karissa said, you only get to keep like a pretty small percentage comparatively of what people pay for the book. So it's just, you have to really set your expectations in the right place to not get discouraged by self-publishing. And I know this now because I had a series published, like 6, 7, 8 years ago now. And I removed it from the market because when I wrote it, I thought it was really good, but I hadn't even like done like a really deep reread of it in like the years prior, because I was just kept finishing writing the series. So I didn't realize until my own writing skill had increased significantly that it was such poor quality. And then it was already on the market, which is also a bummer, because then whatever you put out, if you put it out before it's ready, that's attached to your name now. You can take it off the market, but some people still have my books. And like, they're not, they're not trash, but they're like not anywhere near being ready to publish.
They also have awesome covers.
They have beautiful covers. I had a graphic design student gave me a deal on making my covers, which is another thing too. If you like are looking for design stuff specifically, like cover design, there are a lot of independent artists and like new graphic designers who really want to take a whack at book covers. That's a great place to go. You can ask for thumbnails. They should offer you a thumbnail samples for free if they're interested. And then you just want to make sure that they're familiar with whatever the specifications are that your self-publishing house or KDP needs them to follow to upload it. And the KDP has a whole page on it, and every publishing house will tell you. Yeah, but that's a great way to do it and to save a little bit of money. Formatting is not the same. You need to hire a formatter who knows what they're doing. Same with editing. Like, it depends. If you're going to go through multiple editing drafts, you can have like a bunch of people look at it, and it doesn't like super matter if they're like totally professional. But if you're just like, I'm only going to show this to one person and you did an in-depth edit, find someone that you're going to pay who has experience to do it, because it's a lot of work. So they deserve to be paid to do it. And your book deserves to have someone who was paid to look at it, who knows what they're doing. I'm not sure where I was going with that. Oh yeah, I was going to say about pricing. You need to don't think about how much effort you put into the book. Don't even think about the quality of the book when you're thinking about pricing. Think about what you as a reader would be comfortable spending. And then I say drop it a dollar or two, because you're still probably a little bit biased. I think my print book, I think that the paperback is like $16.99 or $17.99. Yeah. And then I think the hardcover is like $28.99 because it's right under that 30 mark, because hardcovers are just expensive. And then I think the ebook's like $6.99 because that's the average pretty much. And I might go in there and change that stuff. I can change it whenever. But that was what I kept thinking. Okay, as a reader, I'd pay this for a book. And because I might go change it, but
yeah, I think, when you think about the history of publishing, books used to be super, super expensive. Like only the uber wealthy could afford them because it took so much time to copy them down.
Yeah.
And that's not an issue anymore. Now we can pretty much print infinite copies. I mean, Kindle is pretty infinite. And then even printing copies, you can do that as many times as you want. And the factor of pricing is not just how good the book is, it's also rarity. And so if there are a lot of copies of your book, each copy is worth less. And this is great because you're still making money off all those copies, but now it's available to a bunch of readers.
Yeah. So that's the thing too, is I'm thinking if this book was traditionally published, it could probably, I mean, I think it would still probably get sold for like $16.99 because that's it's hard to find one for like $15. It's hard to find like a new book for $15. They're usually between like 16, 17, like 25 for like a paperback. So I'm like $1 above that because of the scarcity thing, but I would still pay $17.99 for a paperback in a book that I wanted, whether I got it online or in a bookstore. So
and so
I don't know that I would pay $18.99 though for a
really,
paperback.
I know my price point is a little lower. I'm usually at $15.99, but I mean that depends on taste and how many books you buy a year, which is a lot for me.
Oh, see, that's the thing. And well, now I do because I buy books for the podcast, but I try and get them off thrift books for the most part. I do it from bookshop.org. Don't buy, see, I'm about to like say, don't buy my book because it's on Amazon, but if you're going to go buy books, go buy from bookshop.org. You can support small bookstores around the country and it's awesome.
Oh, cool.
Support me too, guys. But if you had to pick between my book or bookshop.org, I understand. I understand. I had to go with the beast for this one because I'm so poor. But maybe if people buy my books or a literary agent wants it, I won't be quite so poor.
There you go.
The goal is still, my long-term goal is still that a literary agent will want this book and will pick it up. I don't know if that's going to be because I have so many readers who like this book that somebody wants to pick it up. Or I think the more likely scenario is that I get a different book in a different series that has more market potential published. And then they just kind of like swoop in the rest of my books, which can happen. Yeah. But that's if you're like considering like, when is it time or when is it not time to self-publish? If you have a book that has very little market potential, my book is in the sci-fi genre. I mean, it's contemporary sci-fi, but science fiction is never the biggest selling. It's so hard.
Sad.
It is so sad, but it's hard because it is hard to do well too, which I think mine was a little easier to do, quote unquote, well, because it's contemporary sci-fi. So like a lot of like the stuff that I actually sometimes find kind of boring about the science fiction genre isn't even applicable in my book, which is awesome. But trying to convince a literary agent reading my query letter of that, I'm not gonna be able to convince them of that in the query letter. It's just not gonna happen. So for me, it just made more sense to publish on Kindle now because I want people to have access to the book and I want the book out there. And I don't think it's gonna get picked up by a literary agent. So it's the kind of book, if you have a book, you're like, okay, I know realistically I need to have a strong platform like before a publishing house would want to print this, then maybe that's a book you either save or you can self-publish. Why not? Just to get a feel for it, just to like dip a toe in the water,
True. Yeah.
It's fun. To me, it's a really funny book and I want people to have it if they want it because I think it's hilarious. Maybe it's just me, but other people also think it's funny. So
I thought it was funny. So I mean, seconded.
Seconded. 2 whole people like my book. One of them might be the author, but that's okay.
They count too.
My mom also thinks it's funny.
That is always just a great pitch.
But Kendall also thought it was funny. Like writers that I know like think it's funny enough that they actually remember some things about it. So that's why I'm like, well, if you remembered something specific, at least it's not just total lip service. But you guys go check it out and let me know what you think. I think there's like a little free sample you can read too. And it's the comedy starts right away. Maybe we'll do a giveaway. There. We'll do a giveaway for it. And somebody can, maybe multiple people could get this book for freezies.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It's fun. What else is there about self-publishing?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of, so I am not self-published and I have no intention of being. And so I'm trying to think of like my reasons for that and like on the other side of it about like when not to. Yeah. And I think I said this in the rejection apathy episode, but I will say it again. Do not self-publish just because you have gotten impatient or what's the word? Just disappointed with the querying process. It's going to take time. Discouraged, yes, that's the word. I knew it began with a D. if you find, if it's been 6 months to a year and you're still not getting any hits, that's pretty normal.
Yeah, I was like,
And
yeah, that's totally normal.
yeah, do not get discouraged at that point. I mean, I don't know if this will encourage or discourage you, but I've been querying the same book for 8 years now.
And
Four
it's
of them,
a mainstream book with mainstream appeal too.
yeah, and
So.
I would say 2 to 3 of those years are where it's been really, really good quality, where I'm really proud of it. And so it does just take time. Sometimes you have to wait for the market to come around. Sometimes you have to wait for the right agent. But don't self-publish in the meantime if you think it could eventually get picked up by an agent.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do. Like, again, there's reasons to self-publish.
Yeah.
As an original desire, but if you want to be traditionally published, don't lose the thread halfway through just because you're getting discouraged.
If you want a book to be traditionally published, I would say don't self-publish. Because it's very unlikely at that point.
And I would say too, one of the reasons that I want traditional publishing, first of all, it's because I do really care about craft and writing, and I really want there to be many people who know what they're doing looking at it to make sure it's the best version of itself. I also do really want a mainstream audience. I want it to be able to get to as many people as possible, and I do not have any faith in my own marketing skills.
That's the thing we didn't say in this episode either, where if you're going to self-publish and you want people to see your book and buy your book, all of the marketing and promotion is on you. It is hard. You're going to have to make bookmarks. You're going to have to go to book fairs. You're going to have to market on social media consistently. You're going to want to start newsletters. Like, it is hard. It is really, really, and I am an extremely motivated person. And I used to work for a marketing company, and I'm currently a marketing copywriter, and it is so freaking hard. Oh my God.
Yeah. The marketing side terrifies me. And I do know that you have to help market your book, even if you're traditionally published. But
they'll kind of guide you.
And you kind of know what to like, they'll set up, or at least tell you to set up, like,
and you have their budget behind you. If I could just run promotions constantly, I would, but it gets pricey after a while to just keep running. And you want to know, like, where's the best place to run promotions and for how long and at what time. And you want to like set up author events and meet and greets and things and then you want to convince people to come to those things. So that's all stuff you can do as a self-published author. It's just significantly harder. And then when it comes to like legal stuff, this is one of the other like biggest values of traditional publishing through a literary agent and publishing house is you have like lawyers who look at all of the legal contracts and the things that you sign, and they understand your intellectual property rights and things like that. So that is super, super nice. Self-publishing, you are on your own and you just hope for the best, which is also why I'm like, if you're very attached to it and you want to see it traditionally published, don't self-publish. Self-publishing is kind of like, it's the Wild West out here. It's everyone for themselves, and just about anything can happen. And unless you are a lawyer yourself, you don't have a ton of protection.
Right. Yeah. Cause I've been tempted a few times in the past couple of years. I'm like, maybe I should self-publish. And I'm like, no, then it will fail because you do not know what you're doing. And I know everyone feels this way about their books, but I really, really care about these. And I feel like they're really important. And I would rather postpone them being in the world and make sure that once they are, there's a lot of impact. Rather than kind of get them out now and maybe lessen the impact. And that's just a conversation you have to have with yourself. What do you care about there? Are you a go-getter? Are you someone who thinks you can make it in self-publishing? Then maybe that's something you should consider.
Or are you okay if you don't? Like, are you okay if you only sell a few copies and don't make any money? I am, but I wasn't when I first started self-publishing. I had totally different expectations. You really, really have to set very clear expectations for yourself and your book if you're going to self-publish, and not just be discouraged. At this point, if I sell some copies, that'll be great. If I don't, not particularly surprising. It's very, very hard to do. And I'm trying to appeal to a particularly niche audience to begin with. So it's not a big deal, but I still have other stuff I'm working on, like this new book I'm working on for NaNoWriMo. I have one book that I've been querying for like 3 years now that's actually gotten a lot of positive feedback from literary agents. No one has quite bit the hook yet, but I've gotten a lot of requests for partials and even a lot of requests for full manuscripts. So I'm like, that's encouraging. It's still been 3 years. I'm still querying it. Like, it takes time. But I do think that eventually somebody will pick that one up. I think the fact there's been that much interest should indicate that perhaps there's going to be a place for it at some time. I just have to hit the market at the right time and the right.
I think you're waiting for the
agent.
Market to come around. Yeah,
I think I am too.
I think I know the one you're talking about. I think you're just waiting for the market to come back around.
Yeah, my Irish mystery fantasy one. Yeah,
yep. I just think that's it's not quite out, but your take on it is kind of out, and I think it'll come back around.
Yeah, so. I think it will too. I'm just waiting for the day now, and still querying in the meantime, and still writing other stuff too, because I think it's good to have once you get to the point where you have multiple projects, if you have a few of them that are potentially ready for traditional publishing, you can like cycle through your queries for them, because all the trends are always coming and going. You might have one book that's on trend now, a different book that's on trend another time. Science fiction is almost never on trend. And if it's on trend, it's on trend for the blink of an eye, which is why I'm like, I'm fine self-publishing this, because I'm not sure it'll ever see the light of day otherwise.
Yeah. So just real quick, Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, who wrote, I always mispronounce it. Is it Illumini Files? I think it's Illumini Files. Yeah. And oh my gosh, these books are so good. They have now published a second sci-fi series together.
Ooh.
And they have like completely distorted my perception of how popular sci-fi is, because they're so good. And I do know a lot of people who've read them, but only these
there's
books,
some
really.
Like, what is it like? It's called, what is it, like Aurora Rising or something? Or
yep,
other?
that's the second one. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's that series.
The second series.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I've seen that book all over the place. That one, and then there's one about this group of kids who get chosen to like go into space to like go to this other planet. What is it? It was really, really good. If you guys know what I'm talking about.
There's several books coming to mind. So
oh dang, it's like, I don't like the 7 or something, or I don't remember. There's a number in the name.
Is it the 100?
No.
Okay. I was like, no, that's not the same.
No. And that one is also like just straight science fiction. Mm-hmm. And it was also pretty popular because I remember I saw it everywhere. I bought the audiobook. I think it was the first audiobook I ever bought, actually.
Right.
And I loved it. But that's still the only 2 science fiction books that I can think of right away that were popular enough that I saw them many places.
Right.
Is there a ghost in your room?
No, I was looking at my sci-fi shelf to see if I can picture what it is, but I don't know. I
can try and look it up. I'll try and look it up. But yeah.
I do think sci-fi should be done more.
It should.
Just as a general desire. If any of you are sci-fi writers, please don't give up. Please keep writing. Please put it out there, because I want more sci-fi. I have high expectations now because of Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I know it can be done.
Yeah, it can be done. And I think the other thing is it's almost a little bit like fan fiction, where I think the quality can vary significantly in sci-fi, because like it's like a fan fiction. A lot of people write their science fiction stories to satisfy something in themselves, because because there's not a ton of science fiction content. They write their own science fiction content, but it may or may not be, great quality. Which ironically, what would solve the problem would be having more well done published science fiction books.
I know,
but
it's a cycle. They're like, there's no good science fiction, so then more bad science fiction.
More science fiction. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's part of the problem. People are very reticent to pick it up. My book is, let me say, I'm not always a big fan. Like most books with illustrated covers, like my book is, I almost never pick them up, because I look and it looks like chick fiction to me, like chick flick fiction, or like a rom-com-y book, none of that is my style. But this book does have a little bit of those vibes, just like a tiny bit, but the whole thing is almost like a parody of the genre a little bit. And so the fact that I have an illustrated cover for this book is so right. It is so right. I also think it might pull in some readers who are not science fiction lovers, because the book is so much more than science fiction. I think it could appeal to someone who doesn't even like science fiction. So I think that I'm really happy with my cover for that reason. My sister, Maddie Anho, who she does our graphics for TSS and for TPBC, she made it for me. Now she's like, oh my God, I want to change so many things on it now.
Of course. Now you're like, Maddie, we can't.
No, well, there might be a second edition cover. Who knows?
Oh, true.
But I like it. I think it's perfect because it kind of bridges the genres.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But in an
thought of that, but you're
authentic
right.
way. I don't think it's
Yeah.
tricking anybody. I think it's just
Right.
a really good representation of what this book is.
Right. It's like sci-fi with that kind of cover. Like
Yeah.
that's the mashup.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's funny, man.
Yeah.
It's probably the most comedic book that I've written. All of my books are a little bit funny, but that one is the
True.
funniest.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember this book.
I wish I could help you.
It's okay.
I don't know.
Oh, well. Do you have anything else we want to say about self-publishing?
I think I summed up all my thoughts. I mean, really, you're the one that knows more than I do. I'm just saying, I do think there is a stigma that you have to beat with self-publishing. As a reader, I am very hesitant to pick up self-published books because I've read a lot of bad ones.
Yeah. The thing with Kindle Direct Publishing is if you do it right, people might not be able to tell that it's self-published, because there's been one book in particular that I picked up. We actually interviewed the author, and he's also really good at self-promo stuff. So like you truly wouldn't know. And it's a high quality book and the cover is gorgeous.
Yes.
J.S. Latshaw, the author of the Brathius Legacy series, The Threat Below is the first book, self-published on Kindle Direct Publishing.
Okay.
Who would have known? I never would have thought, because it looks on the page, it looks totally the traditional. The cover,
Right.
It looks like totally traditional quality wise. The quality is about the same as what you would get from a publishing house. So, but that is the first one I've gotten that's self-published that I couldn't tell the difference, but it is possible. So that's like, I'm like, that is my goal. Like,
yeah.
I know it's been done. I know I can trick people into thinking it's traditionally published.
Okay. I don't know if I should call people out by name, but there is this one particular person I'm following / friends with. I don't know what the terminology is on TikTok, and her books are self-published and they are so beautiful.
Oh yeah.
I'm so impressed by her covers.
Ooh.
And I don't know. For a while there, I was like, this is a traditionally published author. Mm-hmm. And she's not, but she's very good at promotion. Her website is awesome. Yeah. I guess I'll say her name. Okay, so her name is Sydney Hawthorne. If you guys want to check her out.
A great name.
It is. And her books are new adult fantasy. I think they're
in that genre.
Yeah, I think they're in the realm of the fae, but not like only, if that makes sense. That's my impression. But her covers are amazing.
Oh my God, I love this. Her coveys are so amazing. I'm always going to call them coveys from now on.
Poor Sydney Hawthorne. I'm just butchering her.
Girl, I love your coveys. I'm going to be like, Maddie, thank you for designing my covey. I just love my covey.
Anyway, she has amazing covers and an amazing website where she it's an experience to order stuff from her.
See,
she has a candle.
Yeah, and I need to look up this website.
It's pretty great.
Sydney Hawthorne's website. This is goals. Yes. Also, this is a great idea. You guys take notes from the self-published authors who are doing it right, and try to replicate the ways that they're doing it right. I need to make a new website for myself. I haven't. I just have a page on that Pretentious Book Club website because I did not have time to make a whole new website, but I will. It'll probably be Ash O'Rourke Books. I'm guessing that's going to be it if I can get the URL. So
fair.
Stay tuned, everybody. It's not going to be an experience yet.
We'll build there.
We'll build there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I thought about? Should I have a website even though I'm not published yet? Or is that weird?
I don't think it's weird, because I was kind of thinking between both podcasts and the book, like I could really use just like a website that talks about all the stuff I'm doing. And then it's even easier to do like a blog or something. Because like if I were to do a blog, it wouldn't go with any of the things alone that I do, but the things that I do all together, then it would make sense. So I think if you do one or more things in the creative sphere, I don't think it ever hurts to have a website. Same for querying, because some of the submission forms want you to have a website.
That's true.
Yeah. I need to put that on my to-do list. I guess now I have to prioritize this. Dang it. I was trying to reason to myself that I didn't have to prioritize it, but I do.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Or I could just go really arrogant and be like ashlyo'rourke.com. Because it's not just books, it's also podcasts. But I don't know. Is that too arrogant? Do I care?
I think it works.
Okay, cool. We'll see if it's taken. It might be taken.
I know, right?
By the way, Ash and Lee are different names, you guys. My name's not Ashley. It's Ash. My middle name is Lee.
It is an understandable mistake, though.
I know it is. It is a very understandable mistake. My full name is Ashley-Ann, but it is 9 letters long, and it is not at all pronounced the way that it's spelled. Let me tell you. So,
right. But then the middle name is Lee
O'Rourke. Yeah, Lee, yeah. Leigh. You're looking it up. They're like, we're not looking it up.
They're like, we just want you to stop talking.
They're like, we're just trying to get through this. I'm just trying to get my book self-published. Okay. I had to listen to you guys about it.
Like, shut up about your own personal experiences. Yeah. Just tell me what to do.
Oh, God.
But yeah, so those are some reasons to self-publish or to not self-publish. If you don't think you're going to be a good marketer and you care about getting your books to a wide audience, you should probably hold out for traditional. If you feel you can be good at marketing or you feel like your book is super niche
and or you are okay with not selling a ton of books. It's great if you do, but don't go into it expecting that. That can be the goal, but should not be an expectation, because you will be so disappointed.
That's great. I like that. So just like cut that.
So put disappointed.
Love it.
Oh man.
Yeah. But yeah, those are all my thoughts, I guess.
Cool. Mine too. I have no other thoughts left in my head.
Oh,
that's it. I just vomited them all into the microphone.
I'm gonna say, do we have any more writing stuff? We already kind of talked about NaNoWriMo.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we did our NaNoWriMo updates.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Scripturian Society. Karissa's TikToking skills are far superior to my TikToking skills. She has made the most wonderful. They are so dudes. Dudes.
Thanks.
If you are writers or have ever thought about writing, or if you're just a fanfic writer, if you're just a sci-fi writer, whatever you are, not to say that fanfic
a lowly sci-fi writer.
Not that we're the same thing, but anyways, also I write other things besides science fiction. I hope I didn't just make myself sound like I'm only a sci-fi writer. Anyways, if you're any form of writer, you've ever thought about writing, you're an author, you like to read books, oh my God, go look at the Scripturian Society TikTok. The content is literally made for you, and it is so funny. I have literally spent like an hour just scrolling through the videos on there.
I have been waiting my whole life for writer friends, so I have a lot of ideas up in this brain. They're all coming out now. So
got a lot of ideas up in this brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your ideas are excellent. You never run out of ideas for that TikTok. So that's a really fun TikTok to follow. And you can find them on Instagram as well. I will sometimes post some stuff on Instagram. I very, very occasionally will make an appearance on the Scripturian Society TikTok.
It's true. You should make a video for your book. And
I should. I'm going to make some content specifically about my book for the Scripturian Society. I will also have some different content on the That Pretentious Book Club TikTok and Instagram. You can follow both pages. I really try not to double post because it's obnoxious if we have cross traffic listeners. I don't want to bore you guys with the same stuff. So it is different. Do not worry if you only follow one or the other. I will not drag you down like that. But I'll try and put some new stuff about space aliens, Southerners, and saving the world up too. But yeah, awesome. I think that's all we got for this week. Next week, we'll see you for another episode about writing stuff.
Woohoo.
Surprise, surprise. Exciting. Did you know?
Yeah, it's almost like that's what this podcast is.
It's almost like it's a podcast about writing or something crazy.
Weird.
All right. Well, until next week, everybody, keep writing.
And we'll see you on the next page. Yay, we nailed that ending.
We finally did it.
Woohoo!